you've got the whole book here, which works out fabulous value for money. You can buy the individual projects separately, but if you buy them in a collection from the website, link below, it's a massive saving. So let me tell you what you've got here. I'll just stand back a bit. You've got the Christmas is Coming Advent Calendar, designed by Michaela Smith, which is amazing. Behind me, which we'll come to in a moment, you've got the Christmas is Here tree skirt. And then up here, you've got Presents Are Coming and Dinky Little Houses, both of which, again by Michaela, are gorgeous gift boxes. Not just for Christmas, for any time of the year. So you could put birthday sentiments on, you could put Valentine's, new homes. You get the idea. All of those things you can put on here. Let's move up above. You've got the sleigh bells ring. I'm going to call it wall art. So you've got Father Christmas and you've got as many reindeers as you want to sling on the front there. Really simple to do, and I think you'll agree, beautiful. Now, just because we've done it in this free-form way of applique doesn't mean to say that you can't do it in a traditional way on a traditional background fabric. That works perfectly well too. We've also got in the collection two gorgeous character dolls. We've got Jolly St Nick, who's hiding behind the reindeer here, and we've got Elfie Bo. Now, Elfie Bo, if like me, you're into Elf on the Shelf and you love all that Christmas stuff, every member of your family can have an Elfie Bo. Let people choose their own fabrics or surprise them if you want, but everyone can look different because we've all got to be good in that run up to Christmas because you want to make sure that the big man arrives. And then we've also got in this collection, as if that wasn't enough, more wall art. Now, we called this Sugar Mice, but in actual fact, we've given you all the characters for the Nutcracker. So you've got the Nutcracker himself, you've got the King Rat, and you've got some ballerina mice. There's more mice than that, and I'll show you in a minute. So that is below. Now let's come in and let's have a look at some of the projects. So straight away, let's have a look at Sugar Mice here. So here are some more. Now we've built them really simply on the Bosal in our form. So all we do is we draw out your mice onto calico, and then we stitch from the back on the lines. Stitch on the back and then we decorate on the front. So really easy peasy to do. And the little hand stitch details, they can be put on afterwards, working from the front. So you've got a whole set there. Now some of them we've given you left and right like this, so you could put them back to back. Obviously you're going to have the right side showing back to back. They would encase ring pulls, whatever. I know I'm showing that with two facing the right way, but if you did one facing each way, you get where I'm going there. So that's your Sugar Mice. Now I've also got here the Christmas is Here tree skirt. Now look at this, it's beautiful. Let's try and make it stand up a little bit better for you. Michaela Smith's designed this and she's made each segment separately. I'm going to show you how in a sec. And in the drawings you get a whole selection of houses, trees and snowmen. You pick exactly what you use. So you could just put houses all the way around, snowmen all the way around, trees all the way around. You could put a tree behind a house, etc, etc. It's entirely up to you. So let's have a look here. I've got some down on the bench here. So what Michaela has done is she has layered up background fabric. This is just calico. You could pick a nice Christmassy one if you wanted. Some wadding, and then the main fabric on top. Let me come to the snowman version. So the snowman, you can see the snow and the snowman is cut all in one piece. Now, once you've made all your little pennants, as it were, they're like gentlemen's ties, aren't they? You join them together, and it's done in the quilt as you go method. So that means that, let me fold them in half and give you a better look. You join the right sides together, you join this seam, and then you hand stitch your wadding. So you're going to cut that, tells you how to do it, get it all cut to the right size. That's just hand stitched down, it's not difficult. And then your backing fabric put on the top. Oops, here we are, we've got a big overlap there to meet. Bring your overlap over the top. Obviously taking your time, you'll get it nice and neat, and just hand stitch that down. And then you will end up with a beautifully joined pennant. Now the thing to mind is when you're joining, join on the snow line there, because if top and bottom are out of whack, you can sort that out when you put the binding on afterwards. But this is the point here when you're joining that you'll need that point to be perfect. So once you've made your circle, quite simply just use binding. Now you will need a bias binding. You can make this yourself, or you can buy it pre-purchased and get a colour that works with your fabrics. The reason you need a bias binding is because you've got the circle in the middle. Now if you decided that you wanted to make it as a circular like tablecloth or something, just do like you know, like a patchwork block and put a patch piece on the centre. That would be fine. Now I've got here to show you the, remind you at the back, we've got the Christmas is coming advent calendar there. So how that works, it's really simple, but I'm going to show you how the backing goes together because it's difficult under the applique to see. So on the pattern is black and white. I've just coloured this in so that you can see easily. So you've got your sky part, and then you've got the next background part, overlap, and then with your sewing machine just sew back and forth. That's all you need to do, back and forth, and then that will be enough. And then the bottom section, what I would do is get a big old piece of calico, stitch that on there, and then applique this piece of foreground on your calico. The reason I say that is because if you were trying to piece individually to size, you're going to have this real skinny piece here, which could end up difficult. So once you've got your background, then it's as easy as anything to just follow these lines with your rows of houses. So you're following it as if like a road around this little piece here. If you should need extra to go on there, that's your little piece that you would just add to your drawing. So that's the Christmas is coming. After that, it's just a simple wall hanging like any other. The pockets, get a longer piece, fold it in half so that the fold is at the top of the pocket, so you've got no like fraying issues. Fingers are going to be able to get in and out with the little gifts, and that will be fine. Now then, some of my favourites, I'm going to get one to show you, is the little houses. So we've done them all different colours so that you can kind of get an idea. So we've got here, this is the big one, presents are coming, and you can see there's 3 sides there. Now Michaela's given you a full alphabet of handwriting that you can trace off, so that means you can change this wording to be new home, to be welcome, to be whatever you want it to be, happy birthday even. And these are fabulous for stuff, you know, putting little gifts in, and they'll just sit on their own, or with the little ones, dinky little houses. I'm going to show you how to do both. You would just hang them off a tree, off a door handle, off a hook, off whatever you want. And the dinky little houses, now we've stitched ours down for just display purposes, but the side of the lid, that will lift up and give you access, because the best things come in small packages. So let's have a look. For your big ones, you will start out just like the sugar mice. Draw everything out onto, we've used calico because we can see through it. You can use any fabric as long as you can see through it. It doesn't have to be a fancy one or anything. Draw all the lines which are given to you in the pattern on there, and then place this is the wall fabric, place your wall fabric on, turn it over and stitch on those lines there. Don't worry about cutting it back yet, because once you've done that, you're going to put your roof fabric on and you're going to stitch on the roof lines. The roof goes separate because it overlaps that wall fabric. So you've got it all stitched on. Now you can go in with your scissors, and probably from this side is easiest, cut back to the seam line. So the outer line is the seam line, and then over the roof you've got that shape there. So cut it all out. Here we are. Cut it all out, and then you can decorate. So I've just started to put windows on here, and you can see I've put them on in one piece and then dividing all the panes up with stitch. Don't be afraid to stitch on the same line twice. On completion of all your writing, your embroidery, whatever you want to put on, little micro buttons, whatever, you start to join it. Now you'll notice here that corner has been clipped. It's been clipped back to the point there, and why that is going to allow you to fold it up and join the seam there, and then the next seam will join here, and then you've just got the side seam, join it up to the top of the wall, and then you can turn it through and you will have yourself the most gorgeous little gift box. Now let's go back to the whole collection and let's have a look. Which one's your favourite? I really can't say which is mine. I do like the little gift boxes. I've got to say, they are beautiful. Anyway, follow the link below. You can get access to the whole collection in the booklet form, or there are